the truth.
Conversation with Bojan. You always feel like these are productive conversations and they're helping you guys.
I think that was one of the most productive ones we've had. I think there are times we need to go back and forth. At the end of the day, it was my fault. And he let me know it. And I think that's what makes us better. A lot of times when you have a group that's so connected like we are, times to kind of be nice. Let each other have it. I think that's what makes us better. And I think having a guy like that, being able to explain to me what I did wrong, while it may look like it's aggressive, but he's explaining to me, and I think obviously we figured it out 6 points later. But I think that's what we need. We need that energy in that fight, and we haven't really had it fully. We've had it in spurts, but we haven't had it fully.
How do you guys fight through this? How do you guys fight through this on and off the floor, in the locker room, on the floor, execution-wise, effort-wise?
Man, that's a good one. I think for me, I think for us, I think we just got to continue to just stay with each other. It's easy to kind of point, who's there, who's that, and in a time like this, no offense to you guys, but allowing that to kind of create the pull, away from. I think, like I said, we have guys that generally want to be around each other now. I think that separation is going to be there, so we got to be able to first have that, which we do, and then we got to come in and look ourselves in the mirror, all 15 of us, stuff that I could do better. Rudy, Dante, Jeff, Mike, Joe, being able to take that accountability. I think being able to, like he was saying, like I said with Bojan, being able to hold each other accountable, when it's necessary. I think that's huge. We're nice to each other, but we got to be able to make sure, look, we got to pick this up, and I think we all know it. But yeah.
How do you work on the mental?
Donovan, you guys allowed 32 pass break points tonight. What has become the issue in that area?
Our precision. We turned the ball over. Simple mistakes. I think stuff that we can control. I think you look at what we did at the beginning of the year, how we took care and shared the ball, and what we're doing in the past 6 games. It's not who we are, and it's not really much coach can say. It's really just on us in the locker room to figure it out.
Can you point to a reason why the defense has slipped over the last 7 or so games?
We've turned the ball over. It's hard to execute on defense when you turn the ball over like that, and you got to run back, and then you got shooters, then you got Anthony Davis running the lane, you got Brown running the lane, you got Siakam. There's so many different things that you can really point to. But I think just being more precise, like me throwing a ball from half court, understanding that that's not going to be there against that team, little things that you just know. We just got to be able to work on.
Certainly, we all know there's highs and lows in the season. What do you make of where you guys are at right now?
Right now, we're low. To be honest with you, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're not where we want to be. Last 6 games, to me, we kind of took a couple steps back to what the progress that we had going into the beginning of that road trip. But the great thing about the NBA is we got a couple games ahead of us that are games that we can win. We got 2 days to practice, which would be great for us to get back to our roots. And we're gonna go in tomorrow and with a game plan to get better. We can't get too down on ourselves. To me, it's still early in the season. We got to get healthy, get Mike back. But at the end of the day, we have to focus on our defensive end, communication.
You mentioned communication defensively. What are some of those other glaring things that you want to address immediately as you have practice now?
Shit, at this point, everything. To be honest with you, but it starts with communication. It starts with our transition defense. I'm not sure how many points we gave up in transition for them, but I gotta say it's probably over 20. But I think that's the start of it. That's the base of it. And once we get in our half-court defense, that's when the communication factor kicks in. So, we'll start with it tomorrow.
Number 1 or 2 in defensive numbers through about 15 games, but in the last 7, 5 times you've given up 120 points. What's the bigger trend across these 7 games?
Well, I think at the beginning of the year, there was a determination and a focus defensively, and it showed. More recently, we've allowed other things, whether it be a missed shot, perception of a bad call, you know, a turnover, everything's lingered. So our inability to get to the next play, I think, has hurt our defense, and that not being collectively focused on something that requires 5 guys playing together. You know, whenever you're, you know, those breakdowns can occur so many different ways, but invariably the common thread is probably some sort of miscommunication. Sometimes it's silence. Sometimes, you know, somebody does something, you don't see, like that's where it stems from, where you're not, you know, playing as a unit. And it's, you know, no one player can guard 5 guys. Sometimes there's a matchup situation where it's difficult to guard your man, and that's when you need help. And, you know, that's, I think, something that we have been good at this year. But if your mind isn't focused on it, it's not a priority. If there's other things that you're thinking about, becomes difficult to do, and it shows up. And I think that's where, whether it's changing ends in transition, you know, missed block out, a blown assignment, not talking, all those things. We've had slippage as well. You know, I think just sometimes working on something and habitually working at provides that emphasis, but, you know, that's not an excuse. We have to be able to guard whether or not we, you know, have the mental picture. You know, that's why you have a walkthrough. That's why you talk about it. That's why you
Great point advantage. Just what did you see kind of on both ends on the transition game?
Well, you know, it comes a lot of ways. Whether it's, we had a lot of good looks in the paint in the first half, and when you don't finish, I thought, you know, we got threes and we got to the rim. When you don't finish, it's very difficult to defend. If you turn the ball over, it's very difficult to defend. And then, you know, there were a number of times when we didn't run back as hard as we need to. It's that simple. They ran the court harder than we did, and, you know, you can get away with that sometimes, but against a team that runs and pushes and is athletic as they are, you know, they need to see bodies. So, you know, I think those 3 areas, you know, you can dissect certain plays, but those are kind of sweeping categories that end up in transition baskets, whether it be threes or layups, but high percentage shots.
Going big.
Music.